Hi, folks. This is Dr. Kat Schreier, your host here at The Water Show. We are just kicking off our grand tour of conferences related to water in June of 2016. And we have with us our very first sponsor for the special episode. So basically what we're doing is we are going to a whole series of different water events covering different water topics. And we've got some fabulous sponsors who are supporting us in this grand tour. The very first conference that we're kicking off with is Capitol Hill Ocean Week. And if you're watching this anywhere other than our show page, find us on YouTube, what have you, please be sure to go over to thewatershow.org/CHOW, which stands for Capitol Hill Ocean Week, so that you can get in on the conversation, that you can watch the really cool videos that we have from our sponsors, as well as some very cool download materials that just lots of fun stuff that's going to be over there. So, but that page is where you can find not only this interview, but also several other interviews and features that we have during Capitol Hill Ocean Week. We're going to be at the first day of the event. We're going to be interviewing people. We're going to be just capturing part of that event. It's going to be fabulous. But we have with us today a very special guest, Anne Gordon de Barrigon. Did I get it right?
You get it right.
Fabulous. And Anne is the founder, the head of the Whale and Dolphin Wisdom Retreats. So tell us, now you're coming to us from Panama, right?
That's correct. I'm sitting right here in Panama.
And I hear the dolphins or the whales are coming. So tell us something about the Whale and Dolphin Wisdom Retreats.
All right. Well, I am obviously not Panamanian. I'm an American citizen, but I have been living here in Panama for 12 years. And when I first came here, I actually came here working on a movie that hired a local tribe of Indians as the actors on the film. I used to train animals for movies and television. So I came here working on this film. The tribe we used was the Embera Indian tribe, and they still live in traditional villages deep in the rainforest and living as they have forever, for centuries. And I got to spend a lot of time with them on the movie set, visit their villages on the weekends, and was just so touched with how warm and open and friendly they are. And then as fate would have it, I ended up marrying one of them.
Wow.
So I moved here to Panama to be with him. Mm-hmm. And I started working as a tour guide and offering tours out to his village, which is an amazing, heart-opening, incredible experience. This is in the watershed of the Panama Canal, so really important part of the world. And I grew up boating in the Pacific Northwest, Puget Sound, with my family, watching orca whales. So I have always had a love of dolphins and whales. I grew up with them, and I thought, I'm in a country with two oceans 50 miles apart. Where are the whales and dolphins, and which species do we have here? So I started searching and could not find anything at all. And then finally, after a couple of years, I discovered that Panama was the only place in the world, Panama and Costa Rica region, where we get humpback whales that come from the southern hemisphere to breed and give birth, and the northern hemisphere to breed and give birth.
Wow.
So it's a hotbed of whales here. There's 34 species of cetaceans, the whales and dolphins, that can be found here. And so I actually pioneered the whale watching industry in this country because nobody was doing it at all. And my passion is not just spending time with the whales and dolphins, but bringing in the spiritual aspect.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about that. Yeah. So as you said, I mean, the whale and dolphin watching and even swimming with industry, and that's, we'll talk about that as well, and the controversies and things related to swimming with whales and dolphins. But certainly, I mean, this idea that it isn't just a whale and dolphin retreat, it is a whale and dolphin wisdom retreat. So what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that there's so much we can learn by just spending time with the whales and dolphins, by watching them. For example, when you look at a dolphin, whether it's in the wild, whether it's on TV, in a picture, you can't help but smile, right? You feel joyful just by looking at them. So they bring us joy. They go with the flow. For example, when they're faced with a challenge, like a storm comes up on the sea, what does a dolphin do? Does he get tense and worry and hide and run and dive deep? No. They surf the big waves and they jump higher and they play. They use the flow of the storm, the challenge, to give them a higher perspective, to get further, to take them to go ride with that flow instead of resisting it.
Wow.
So that's that's just a tiny bit. I could go on for hours about what.
Oh, I'm sure. We only have about 20 minutes, but you really integrated that into a coaching practice. Is that correct?
That's correct. I'm creating an e-course called Whale Wisdom, where we take a number of these bits of wisdom that I have learned and bring it into a module so that you can apply it into your own personal life. And I mean, I'm living proof. They have so helped my life in just unfathomable to make ways. No pun intended.
Well, and actually getting on that, we talked before we started the interview about our respective work, Quarts of Water Citizen Media Foundation, being about helping people who are passionate about water to communicate and connect better around water-related issues or passions, and recognizing that there's a lot of folks who may have communication challenges, who find ways to communicate and connect through connection with water and water-related species, and that actually was true in your life as well, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up, I first had a love for animals. My first word was doggy. So animals have always been first and foremost in my life and very important. And I was terrified of people. Didn't want anything to do with people. And so I turned to animals who I felt comforted by and I felt safe and secure with. But through my career with animals, it helped me to gain a sense of self-confidence. And now I'm a great people person from what I have learned through working with animals. And when you bring it to that next higher level with the whales and dolphins, there's so much we can learn about being present. Like when you're in the presence of a whale and dolphin, it's in front of the boat, it's breaching up in the air, whatever it's doing, it's impossible to think about your bills sitting back on your table, your desk back home, or your worries.
You're not checking your cell phone.
Yeah, you're right present. And it's also a very safe and sacred space to be with the whales, where you learn it's okay to be, sitting next to somebody in silence, and sharing that experience. And you don't have to talk if you don't want to, and that's honored. So you've learned that through just practicing it. And then I also bring in kind of the telepathic, the intuitive connection, and helping them tune into actually listening to their intuition and to what they might be receiving on a telepathic level, and looking at just body language and all of those ways of communicating can be learned on our trips.
And we talk about Water Citizen helping people tap into more intuitive water communication and communicating from the heart and the soul, and how important that is when we're dealing with very emotional issues around water, to really connect through that feeling level and getting out of just, TMDLs and acronyms and legal mumbo jumbo and everything.
Right.
Now, so what, and I also want to point out that you and I have been getting to know each other through a group that we're both in, something called the Joint Venture Insider Circle, which brings people together who want to team and be more collaborative and work together with other folks and connect. Particularly in the coaching and communications kind of space, and along with a gentleman named Rich German, who is one of the founders of JVIC, and himself is someone who has succeeded as a coach in part because he incorporates into his daily routine going out and paddleboarding, doing stand-up paddleboard with whales and dolphins. And we've been exploring this idea of how of that relationship between being an entrepreneur, understanding how to communicate and connect as an entrepreneur, understanding how to tap into your business intuition, using some sort of interaction with whales and dolphins. How has that? Well, tell us a little bit about that conversations that we've been having.
Sure. Yeah, it's what I have found is that most people that, for example, being in the presence of the whales helps you to just really gently release any fears, blocks, emotions that may be getting in your way. And that's a huge gift right there. But when you, like, one of the things we're talking about doing is bringing in business coaches who work on the intuitive level, combining that with a whale and dolphin wisdom retreat to help people to really let go and get completely unplugged from their busy daily life and reconnect with nature, with spirit and intuition, to learn to trust their intuition, and most importantly, to tap into reconnecting to themselves. And by connecting to yourself, you gain a stronger sense of self-confidence, because as an entrepreneur, we all know it's an up and down roller coaster ride. And it, as you know, if you're doing it on your own or a small company, or even if you're the head of a big company by yourself at the top, it can be really scary. And you can get insecure really easily. But by giving you a foundation and reconnecting you with your heart, with your passion, with your soul, with your purpose,
right,
that gives you an impetus to go forward and come up with, all kinds of amazing ideas and collaborations, and there's no limit.
Well, and what you were talking about a little earlier about how whales and dolphins are not afraid of the storms, and that they see that as an opportunity, that those risks and those challenges are a chance to play.
Right, exactly. To learn to bring, that's what the dolphins are all about, is we need to play more, bring play. How often as an adult, especially someone who's running their own business, how often do we really just get out and play? Roll on the floor like we did as a little kid, play and laugh. We don't do it very often. I mean, I challenge everybody listening to this, watching this video, go get a ball or a hula hoop and bring it to your office and play with it. Just get people playing, and then you can connect with these people who you've only had like this stiff relationship on a fun play level, and that opens up all kinds of amazing doors to work together.
Absolutely. Well, and that's, that's one aspect that can be part of doing a retreat that combines whale and dolphin wisdom retreats with business coaching and
right. Absolutely.
Really tapping in, you know, bring your whole team.
Oh, it'd be an amazing team building experience, or, you know, some kind of incentive trip. But just if you could bring your whole group together, that would be such an amazing, unforgettable trip, and you would have such a common, amazing experience together that would so amazingly benefit and launch your team together, team commitment.
Now, one aspect we've also talked about with this idea of doing these retreats is incorporating the trip to the village and getting unplugged. And you know, so often these business retreats, you know, you go to someplace amazing, you spend a lot of money to go to, you know, Hawaii or something, and you sit in a hotel room the whole time and you're watching PowerPoint presentations, or, you know, even if it's flip charts, you're sitting there on your computer or whatever, and it's like, you know, you're just in a hotel room the whole time.
You can do that anywhere. You can do that in, you know, anywhere, New York City, and be the same. Yeah, we're out on the water every single day with the dolphins and whales. And we're also incorporating a visit to my husband's village, which is deep in the rainforest. There's no electricity, no internet, not even cell phone signal. So we are literally unplugged. Your phone is your camera, nothing else. And by doing so and spending time with people who live very close to the land, who live in harmony with nature, where they value family is number one, community is number two, and work is way down at the bottom. They work when it's necessary. And I actually believe they're as close to a human dolphin pod as possible, living in true unity and community. And I mean, in all the times I've taken people out to the village, I've never failed to see a distinct softening in the faces of every single person I've taken out there. And you see what's really important is, you know, family, children, each other, relationships.
Right. Yeah, you know, we've also talked about the fact that I've been involved with a group of wise wisdom, was it Water, Women, and Wisdom? It's a group called Water Bearers. So if you go to thewaterbearers.org, I usually have their video up on our site, and it's started as a group of women entrepreneurs who were trying to raise money this year on World Water Day, started by a couple of women living, expats like yourself, living in Costa Rica, just up the road from you. Yep. And trying to raise money for providing clean water through filters to excuse me, to 1 million people by World Water Day, and we did really well in the campaign, and now they're building on that with trips. People actually go deliver filters, and especially with the earthquake recently in Costa Rica, and you know, wondering whether we might be able to integrate some kind of a service element as well to be able to go and deliver filters, and just that experience where it's more than just giving money or organizing a fundraising campaign or awareness campaign, actually getting out there and doing a service element in a retreat.
Yeah, I mean, the amazing part is these people are pretty self-sufficient and they don't need for much. They've actually had this nice water filter put in by the Peace Corps, so their water system's really good and healthy. But sure, there are certain things that we can do to give back to them. Right. We have to decide as we go and ask them what their needs are. I never like to decide for them what they need. We ask them and we go from there. I also like to, you know, I notice how a lot of Americans especially like to think, you know, we're doing good, we're helping out, and that's great. I love that. However, many of us who are givers are not very good receivers, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important on a trip like this to not worry about what you're giving out. Just open yourself up to receive, because you will learn and receive so much more by just being with the whales and dolphins and being with the Embera people in their village. That there's no way we could ever give them what we would receive from them. So, but just sharing they are literally equally curious about us. So it's a neat, really balanced cultural exchange.
Very, very cool. And that's from what I've heard from the other water bears that have gone and been on these retreats is absolutely they are receiving much more than they're giving, just to have a chance to spend time with the villages that they're working with. Now, so let's get back to the whales and dolphins. And you've been really a leader in this whole movement, the cetacean movement, and have organized a couple of summits, the cetacean summits. Tell us more about that.
Sure. I like to call myself a whale wisdom expert, and because I love to share it with the world. And I mean, I'm certainly not the first by any sense, but I have really spent a lot of time in learning and exploring. And there is a woman named Joan Ocean, who is probably the pioneer of the spiritual connection with dolphins and whales. She lives in Hawaii, and she has been swimming with wild spinner dolphins almost every day for the last 30 years. Mm-hmm. And so she offers retreats, and she does amazing work and has written a number of books. And she actually, I think, is the one that connected me and Rich Gurmit together through our love of the whales and dolphins and relationship with them. And so it really just felt natural to me, because when I was a kid growing up watching the orcas, they didn't seem like animals to me. They were kind of like big brothers out there that I just felt a sense of comfort when I saw them, as well as joy. And once I started opening up, and meditating and on a spiritual manner, it was just so natural for me to explore that connection. And ever since I connected with them on a spiritual level, I have never felt alone, because I know that they're always with me. I just feel so safe, so protected, so guided by them at all times. And if I can help just one person in the world feel that same sense of security and open and establish a connection for them, then I'm good. That would be, and to do it with more people is amazing.
That's fabulous. Now, we are here because you are one of our sponsors, and thank you so much. We could not do this without you. One of the sponsors for our special editions of the Water Show at the June Grand Tour of Water Conferences, specifically for Capitol Hill Ocean Week. And again, if you're not at thewatershow.org/CHOW, which stands for Capitol Hill Ocean Week, please go to their site so that you can add your comments or questions. If you have any responses to what you're hearing from Ann, or have any questions for Ann, we will be responding to those questions on that page, as well as be able to see videos from Ann, from Rich Gurman, from Julia Steggy. I hope she's been working with Rich and others who are doing cause-based marketing on how do you get the message out. She did a fabulous job on Rich's website of really capturing what he does with whales and dolphins. It's fabulous. But again, this is related to this is sponsorship related to this event, and I don't believe, I haven't looked at the schedule recently, but I don't believe they have much on the spiritual side of the agenda, but there's certainly issues related to technical, science, engineering, business in the oceans, policy. A lot of big announcements are going to take place during that event. Where within this movement have some of those issues, what are the big issues that tend to come up and how do you bring people together even though they may be on different sides of some of these issues? What are the major issues?
Well, the obviously just take as everybody who cares about water is concerned about pollution flowing into the ocean, because you see it everywhere. It is really easy to see sometimes here when it rains really hard, if there's litter on the side of the road and it ends up in the streams, that then goes into the rivers, and then it's all floating in the ocean, right? Mm. It all ends up in the ocean eventually. And that affects the marine life. And really, that's the beauty of the spiritual connection, because we're all connected, right? And so if sorry, my neighbors are calling. They're trying to get my attention. So they are, everything is connected as one. We're all spirit, we're all energy, we're all connected. And what affects the ocean or the marine life out there is going to affect us as well. There's just no, what pollutes chemicals, say, damaging, and say mercury levels in the orca whales is above toxic, tolerable levels. And so that's going to build up in our systems too, because we're eating the same things. We're all eating the same fish. So that's huge. And then of course,
just on things like mercury and so for example, we talked about whether climate change was an issue, and that these big fish can kind of if it's just a matter of the ocean getting warmer, cooler, whatever, they can just swim where they need to. Right. But there are these kind of secondary impacts from things like mercury from air pollution, or things like their food sources. When their food sources collapse, the whole system collapses. Correct.
Right. Exactly. For localized problems, the dolphins and whales can just move away. Right. But if they move away and there's no food supply, then that's a big problem, right?
Right.
But sorry, I'm just sending him a little message.
Folks, yes, this is live.
Exactly. Guess what, guys? I didn't expect my landlord to drop by. You never know. No problem. But so basically, they can get away. But if it's on a large scale, then everybody is affected. And then in the whole balance, going to the whole balance of, we need the predators, we need every level going throughout the whole entire food chain, be it in the ocean or on the land. And for example, the overfishing, there's several 100,000 dolphins and marine mammals that are caught and killed by bycatch in drift nets every single year. And that's a huge problem. Because if we lose our predator, we lose the whole balance of the system.
Sure, absolutely. Well, it sounds like we might need to round up fairly soon. Just your memories getting antsy.
They're rather insistent.
Now, we did touch on quickly the whole idea of.
I'm just going to yell out. Estoy en una reunión, un momento. Yeah. Okay. All right. We should be able to, let's keep going. Sorry,
guys. So, one of the big issues obviously related to the idea of swimming with whales and dolphins is how safe is it to swim with whales and dolphins, and whales and dolphins in captivity, and yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Very big issue for folks who are swimming with whales and dolphins.
Yeah. Swimming with whales and dolphins, it's amazing. It's one of the most amazing. It's beyond words to describe it. It's just incredible. And they're so gracious. And in my experience, that to be in the water with a dolphin and whale in their world is just, it's so humbling. It's animals the size of a bus. And they just gently go by and look at you. Sometimes they're swimming away and you get in the water and they turn back to come and say hello, or just pop up next to you when you thought they were way over there. But in the water, as with everything, it has to be done responsibly. And you have to go with the company, if not with me, with whichever company you choose to go with. You need to do your homework, and you need to make sure that it's not about volume, it's not about money, it's about respect for the wildlife, and that it's done responsibly. I mean, like with any wild animal, you should never just chase it. You should never try and grab it. You should just be there observing them, and if they choose to come to you, then that's their choice. What we say is that it should always be the option and choice of the animal to be near the human. And in that respect, if a dolphin or whale doesn't, for those who say, oh, it's horrible, you're stressing them, if a dolphin or whale does not want to be with a person, they're gone.
Yeah, they'll let you know.
They're just gone. Sure, you don't want to dump 60 people in the water with them. You want to, keep it responsible and respectable numbers. And not all.
Actually, that was something that came up when I had the amazing opportunity to go to the Galapagos, where it's been so protected for so long that the animals, they've got sea lions all over the place. I've got pictures of me lying next to sea lions and stuff like that. One picture of a sea lion coming after me. It was kind of over the shoulder with the action shots. But by and large, that in those protective environments where fear is not learned, and that's another another business lesson, is how to unlearn fear, that we aren't born free, that we learn fear and can unlearn fear. But that animals that have been in a protected environment don't fear humans, and therefore don't have that, necessarily have that instinct to attack based on.
Yeah, exactly. They don't. The dolphins and whales, they may be curious. They're often very curious about us. And, I've seen times when they have no interest in us at all. We get in the water and they just continue doing what they're doing and leave us in the dust. And then other times that they hang out and interact with us. And again, it's always about giving them their choice in the matter, and just being, responsible.
Very nice. Well, I think you and I could probably talk for hours and hours and hours, but the folks who are here, of course, want to get back to watching the videos and interviews and everything from Capitol Hill Ocean Week that we have at thewatershow.org/chow, Capitol Hill Ocean Week. But really excited that you all folks have had a chance to hear from Anne and the amazing work that she's doing with the Whale and Dolphin Wisdom Retreats. And by the way, before I forget, if someone wants more information, where do they go? Is there a website?
There is a website, and it's whaleanddolphinwisdomretreats.com. And if you want a shorter version, whalewisdomretreats.com will go take you to the exact same place. So we'd love to have you. And I'd love to actually offer a free gift to anybody who comes to your page and looks at the comments. I have an ebook that I'm just finishing called Messages from the Sea. And it's all channeled wisdom that I've received direct from the dolphins and whales. And I would be happy to share that with anybody who comes to your site and can enjoy it at their will.
Well, and of course, as one of our premium sponsors, not only do we have the link on the page with Capitol Hill Ocean Week, but if you go down below and see where Anne's link is, click on that link. It's going to pull up a whole nother page where you can watch, and that's probably where you're watching this right now, where you see the video in the big screen, but also below our video right now, you can see a button, big button. Click on that button and you'll be able to get that ebook, or at least to fill out the put in your name and email, so that when that's ready, that can be sent to you. Is that correct?
It's actually ready now. I've got a working process. I'm just about finished with it, but there is a working copy on there available right now.
Fabulous, fabulous. So you, as a water citizen, as a viewer of the Water Show, as one of our fans, you have this wonderful opportunity to be the first to read this fabulous new ebook. and to learn all about the amazing messages from whales and dolphins, which is a big part of why a lot of the folks who are doing, water, ocean engineering and ocean policy, it's not just a job, it's a passion, and often that is tied to passion for whales and dolphins and other sea life. And we're just so thrilled to have had the opportunity to get together with Anne, coming to all the way from Panama. She's not going to be able to join us here in DC for the event, but we're so glad that she was able to join us here on video at the Water Show. And thank you so much for coming.
Oh, it's a pleasure, and it's my honor to be able to sponsor the Capitol Hill Oceans Week. It's such a subject near and dear to my heart, and I may not be there in the physical, but I'll be there in spirit with you all.
Fabulous. And of course, we do have the information on thewatershow.org/chow of how you can watch. If you're not here in Washington, they have many portions of the show of the event are going to be available through live stream, and then lots of added information, one-on-one interviews that we're going to be doing with some of the speakers on the first day of the event. We're unfortunately only going to be at the first day of the event, and then we've got to jet over to the U.S. Water Prize in Atlanta, part of the One Water Summit with U.S. Water Alliance. But we will be there for the first day, and of course you'll be able to watch the live stream that they made available, as well as our interviews with our sponsors. Again, thank you very much, Anne, and thank you, water citizens, for joining us, and we'll see you soon on The Water Show.